So many times when we have scars and things that has happened to us, again, these stories change in the movie. Whether these stories are true or not, he's putting a fear that was put upon him, and how he got that. No one really knows, especially in this scene or this universe of the Joker, the Batman, but he you can see it in that actor's face, or at least that character. But I'm looking at it as if this was real, and you can see the fear in his face. It's not so much he's scared of, the Joker's makeup and who he is as a person is scary. The makeup, and everything about him. But when you see those scars, they just add another element to him. And sometimes we wear those scars. Sometimes, we pass on our scars. I've talked about this before a while back. We're all scarred. Being scarred. You scarred, I'm scarred. Sometimes we don't know that these scars carry over, especially as you get older and you have a family, you have kids, you have sons, you have daughters, and then you try to put those scars on someone else. Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Friday. I hope you guys had a great week. Man, I had a great week, a busy week. Like you, like me, like many of you guys, man, we've had a busy week. Just to kind of give you guys an update. Last week's podcast, man, shout out to you guys. The love, the support, the stories, man, the testimonies really I've been getting, because of the story, because of the reconciliation with Pastor Marty, Sister Mona. Yes, surprised a lot of you guys that at least know me, the background, the story behind the glory. But shout out to you guys. I did lose some friends. I got blocked by quite a few people because they, the beef, I guess. But you know what? It's expected. I'm moving forward in life. If people aren't moving forward with me, however what their forward looks like, maybe my right, or them turning left, my forward might be them turning left or right. But again, I'm moving forward in life. I definitely want to reconcile a lot of relationships that I have, that I've been burned, that I may have possibly burned people. That's very rare, but last week's podcast was very special to me. I was talking about it. So shout out to everybody that's been watching that, liking it, supporting it, sharing it. Shout out to you, Pastor Marty, Sister Mona. I'm so glad, Sister Mona, you're still here. Pastor Marty, you're your example in faith. Through the hardest times, man, not many people can just say, what, God, you gave me great 30 years. But if you take her, hey, I had great 30 years. But if you keep her, we would love to keep her, because there's one more person she's got to reach. So it's kind of a good challenge for God. It's like, all right, if we're gonna kill her, bring her back to life, she better, and she has. That's who Sister Mona is. So go check out that podcast. The week before we had SCI Fitness on, and man, so many more. Season 4 is I feel like one of my busiest seasons, and so I want to say that again, thank you guys for your love and support. While we're getting into this, I want to give a big shout out. Wifey here, what's up, Lorita?
Hey.
How you doing?
Doing good.
All right, let me ask you this real quick, Laura, before we get into the show, because we have a special announcement right now after this. But what did you think about last week's podcast, Sister Mona, Pastor Marty? 3 hours. That's our longest podcast, season 4 so far.
Yeah. We kind of knew a little bit of her story when it was happening, but we didn't know the whole story. So
yeah.
It was great sitting down with them and just them being able to express themselves and what they were going through. Because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there, especially the year that's gone by. We've had a lot of deaths around, and going through how to
What the?
Sorry, how to cope with that.
How to co-op.
Okay, but anyways, to get through that, it was great.
Ladies and gentlemen, my wife's going to teach you how to quap. She's going to teach you how to use that quap with your wop.
Yeah, you got to know how to use your quap.
With the wop. You are going to hell. No, I'm just saying, go ahead, Cope. Go ahead. All right, let's get back to Jesus.
Yeah, it was a great time.
Yeah.
We were so tired because we had such a heavy, busy week. But it was well worth it.
A quappy
Great.
week.
Especially like hearing the testimonies and with people, that's what we want to do.
Yeah, that's who we are. Again, we're not trying to be cool. Laura, you're not cool.
I'm not cool.
No. But, no, yeah, you're right. It's a good story. Great testimony. Had a lot of feedback, phone calls, DMs especially. So, shout out to Pastor Marty, Sister Mona. I love you guys. Happy that you guys are our pastors again. We're moving forward.
Yeah.
That's it. But today, episode 9? 9?
I think so.
This is 9. Yeah, 9. Episode 9. We had a podcast for today, but again, super excited for that. We're going to reshoot it. Guys, stay tuned for that. It's a local business owner, man. Something very trendy on TikTok. Something very trendy social media. That's in your backyard. I mean, You see all this cool stuff, the cool food, the cool whatever. It's like, oh, how come Fresno Clovis doesn't have that? Well, you do now. And we're going to reintroduce you guys to these awesome business folk here in town. But yes, today we have I have an announcement. We have a new co-host. Y'all been hearing about her. Here she is. What's up, Lily?
Hey.
How do you feel about me making you be the co-host now?
I feel good.
You feel good?
Feel good.
And you're running camera at the same time, so you don't have to touch a camera because we're on our 3-shot. As you see yourself.
I can keep it steady.
Yeah, see, she's working already. Now, let me ask you, Lily, because you've been working with the podcast, I would say season 2 or 3 when we started doing all this 3-shot, more cameras. What has been your overall thought and experience on being the camera operator now and editing with me, working? Because I talk about you all the time. Maybe give everybody an introduction of yourself and what your thoughts on working with your coolest dad ever.
Well, it's a journey, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. I really like working with cameras and editing, and doing this is just the best.
It is, huh?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Now, what kind of journey? Is it a good journey, bad journey, annoying journey?
I would just say a growing journey.
Growing life, like growing pains, huh?
Yeah.
Like in life, we grow. What was that?
Upgrading.
Yeah,
all the time.
Ooh, I like that. Upgrading. And I feel like today's podcast, because we're gonna do another live reaction. And this is very special to Lily too, because this reaction has been on my heart. But before we get into that, again, man, welcome to the team, Lillian. I talk about you all the time. But I definitely want to keep these live reactions going. I have a lot of cool ideas. This one's kind of been on my heart. Let's go to that 2-shot real quick with me and what we're going to talk about. And here it is. Boom. We're going to do a live reaction to the best scenes of Joker in The Dark Knight, man. Shout out, rest in peace, Heath Ledger. Mm-hmm. I believe 4-shot. I believe that Heath Ledger is the best Joker ever. What do you think, Lily?
Seriously, ever.
Ever.
Like, he just captured Joker entirely and brought him to life from the comics into reality. Now,
what are your thoughts on Heath Ledger, kind of like behind the scenes? Maybe a lot of nerds know this stuff.
So I'm a nerd.
I'm a nerd too, but you know a lot more than me about what he went through on this role. What did he have to go through? Maybe tell the audience and people who aren't too privy, to behind the scenes or the stories, only from what they've seen.
I know that during this whole shooting, he moved to a motel. And usually got only 2 hours of sleep and didn't drink water, which is why he always licked his lips. And I believe he wrote in a journal through the process.
Really?
Yeah.
And what else have you? Because I know he did. I mean, because there's these things called method acting. They really immerse themselves in the character, to really sell the role, because that's a big character to play. It's like then you had Jack Nicholson. Played the Joker when what's his face, Michael Keaton was Batman. I feel like Jack Nicholson is one of the staple Jokers.
Yeah.
Didn't he have all the older school comic-y, cartoony you know, Jokers, but I feel like original Batman and this one, I'm not a fan of Jared Leto's Joker. You know, I'm not really. It just seemed too mobster, too bougie. But we're not just gonna react to his scenes. You know, like, oh yeah, this is. But I feel like there's a deeper meaning, and I don't want to just try to get too deep, too super spiritual. You know, but when I watch these movies, I always try to look for the hidden meaning, or what can I glean from. You know, how I can learn from these type of movies. You know, and just kind of like the story behind it. Only because all these movies are a true representation of life, you know, situations, mental health issues that a lot of people deal with. Look what happened to Heath Ledger, the mental health he went through after the fact. Yeah. You know, so this stuff's real. You know, yeah, it's cool. You know, he puts on a character and he's just pretending to be somebody. You know, but spiritually or emotionally, and yes, in our lives, again, spiritually, you know, we're impacted by this, especially when you look at the spiritual part of it and what people put on us.
And then you see, you know, the characters he played before, you know, he was super young. And then for him to go so dark in this character.
What's that one movie?
The Knight's Tale?
Knight's Tale, that's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, that was a good, you know, I don't know if he has a huge list of movies.
He does, it's just, I think he just started popping off when I started seeing The Knight's Tale.
He was young.
Yeah, and what the 10 Things I Hate About You, I think
that's the first movie I saw him in.
Yeah. You know, and a bunch of other ones again, but I think these ones just stand out to me. You know, but again, when you think about the real issue behind the scenes, you know, why he had to go this dark, you know, because he had to immerse himself in that darkness. He had to uproot some issues I know they said he was dealing with even as a kid. You know, everyone went deep. And here we are umpteen years later, you know, and now we watched this movie the other night, and then we watched it with Lily like a month ago, and we continue to watch these, man, because really it's one of our favorite movies. One of the movies I feel like Christian Bale is one of my favorite Batmans. Ben Affleck is one of my favorite Batmans. That Patton Robertson, what is his name? Robertson or whatever?
Yeah. Pattinson?
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
He was okay. He seems like a little petite Batman. You know,
I could not. When I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, that's weird. I don't know. Can you
all
pull
I can
that
see
off?
is that little starlight, what do you call it?
But I thought he did a good job
that
in the
little
movie.
vampire sissy.
Twilight.
Toy Story. Yeah, you see, I don't Twilight. Just
Toy Story.
Starlight. Toy Story.
No, I thought he did a good job if it was a younger Batman, right?
Talking to that mic.
There
it is. There, yeah, I see that.
As if it was a younger, what's his name? Affleck?
Ben Affleck?
Ben Affleck.
I like old Batman.
Right.
Ben Affleck was the old Batman. And, you know, so, again, when you immerse yourself into these characters, or these guys, I don't know nothing about that, man. I did little skits, little human videos. You know, I can, to my most amateurs of amateurs, I can mess around and put on a scene, but the way these guys do it, man, they're professionals. You know, one of my favorite actors of all time, too, is John Bernthal. Yeah. You know, Shia LaBeouf, you know, before he went crazy, or just as always is or was, you know, he immerses himself, but they go into these dark parts of their lives, you know, and then I feel like this movie really depicts that, you know, and then I feel like this scene, because again, you know, everyone knows the movie, so I don't need to explain the movie, you know, when we get into this. Those are listening and watching, you know, apologies, you know, the whole build up to it. You know, but I'm gonna give my thoughts on how he tried to make people like him. He gave people decisions. Not only that, but there were decisions that you lose either way, because this character, the guy that brings the anarchy, the chaos, you know, he wants to bring people to his level, to who he is. You know, whether you want to get super deep, he hates himself, or I don't know, you know, but what I hear and what I see all the time is that he always says, one of the first things he always says is that, you want to know how I got these scars? You know, I'm not going to try to talk like him. I'll probably sound like a nerd, or not even that. But let's listen to this. Yeah, here's the part. Now, I'm going to go over the parts where he's talking to people and he's putting that on that person, that fear. You know, my scars. Look at me and you see my scars. You know.
Look at these scars. My father was a drinker and a fiend. And one night, he goes off crazier than usual. Mommy gets the kitchen knife to defend herself. He doesn't like that. Not one bit. So, me watching, he takes the knife to her, laughing while he does it.
Man.
He turns to me and he says, "Why so serious?" He comes at me with the knife. "Why so serious?" Sticks the blade in my mouth. Let's put a smile on that face.
I mean, I get all goosies. You know, I love the soundtrack. You know, I think that's Hans Zimmer. I think, you know, I'm not that nerd like you guys, but when I hear, like, you know, want to know how I got these scars? You know, so many times when we have scars and things that has happened to us, again, these stories change in the movie. You know, whether these stories are true or not, you know, he's putting a fear that was put upon him, and how he got that. No one really knows, especially in this scene or this universe of the Joker, the Batman, you know. But you can see it in that actor's face, or at least that character. But I'm looking at it as if this was real, and you can see the fear in his face. It's not so much he's scared of, the Joker's makeup and who he is as a person is scary. The makeup, like, you know, and everything about him. But when you see those scars, they just add another element to him. And sometimes we wear those scars. You know, sometimes, you know, we pass on our scars. I've talked about this before a while back. You know, we're all scarred. You know, being scarred. You scarred, I'm scarred. You know, sometimes we don't know that these scars carry over, especially as you get older and you have a family, you have kids, you have sons, you have daughters, you know, and then you try to put those scars on someone else, you know. And again, this is going to be very basic topic.
They put that fear. The
fear, you know, because maybe, again, that's what his character experienced when the little Joker was a young, you know, innocent young boy. You know, and so that led him to be this person, you know, or that character or that villain, at least in the DC universe and stuff. And I feel like we as adults, we as people do that. You know, sometimes we let our scars, they define us, you know, and Joker's, you can see, it's not that he's proud of it. I think he accepted his scars, and now he's like, now I'm going to make everybody accept my scars. You know, again, I'm not trying to get super deep. I'm no psychiatrist. You know, I don't know how to read the ink blot test. You know, I don't know crazy terms or books to reference to, but I just go based off how it makes me feel, what I think, my opinion, you know. And you guys listening and watching to this, man, you guys watch this movie and just put yourself in that position and how you make people feel, or how somebody made you feel growing up. You know, a certain memory, someone like, you know, I don't know, you know. And I think these scenes depict, you know, really, I believe, man, the devil, you know, and his, you know, his way is fear, you know, and fear and chaos, and he wants to kill, steal, and destroy, and he wants to make sure everybody is losing because he's losing. You know, I like this. What do you think, Laura or Lily?
What do I think? I think, obviously, there's movies and there's messages. I mean, we could use anything as a message, but this is, it's kind of easier to see if you do put it based on, like, evil. I mean, this is how the devil does work. You know, he pries on your fears, and he'll use his fears put on you. Yeah. You know, and I mean, that's going on all the time. So, I
mean, Heath Ledger really pulled that out. I mean, again, I'm not going to hate on his acting, man. I genuinely wish he was alive. Yeah. You know, but let's get into this. I like this scene a lot. Lily, this scene was ad-lib, right? Or was it? It wasn't. Method? It was just all...
I believe so, because her face looked like she didn't know what was going on.
What did you hear about that? Because I remember you talking to me about it, because there was just because he's actually in front. I remember hearing him saying this on the TikTok video that he's like, there's a room full of people, and they were watching him, and he just turned the switch on.
Right.
Yeah.
And he also had to develop psychotic tendencies to be able to pull this role off, because Joker himself is not sane.
Yeah,
He's very selfish, and he doesn't want to. He just does what he wants, and if he wants chaos, he's gonna do it. So Heath Ledger, he had to develop that to be able to pull that off.
You sound so cute. Your little
My
voice.
first time.
Your first podcast.
My first one.
So let's get in. I like this scene a lot.
We are tonight's entertainment.
I only have one question. Where is Harvey Dent?
He didn't even drink anything.
Do you know who he is?
It's simple. We kill the Batman.
If it's so
I
simple.
like that scene. Let me just get past this.
If you're good at something, never do it for free.
That's a good one right there.
Yeah. This scene really.
Well, hello, beautiful. You must be Harvey's squeeze.
And you are beautiful.
Well, you look nervous. Is it the scars? You want to know how I got them?
Come here. Hey. Look at me.
So I had a wife, beautiful, like you, who tells me I worry too much, who tells me I ought to smile more, who gambles and gets in deep with the sharks. Hey, one day they carve her face. We have no money for surgeries. She can't take it. I just want to see her smile again. I just want her to know that I don't care about the scars. So, I stick a razor in my mouth and do this to myself. And you know what? She can't stand the sight of me. She leaves. Now I see the funny side. Now I'm always smiling.
I don't know, man. That dude's crazy. Every time I watch that, because again, the music makes everything. It's very cinematic, and just the drama of it, man. But it's so serious because again, you don't know that story. You know, I can't speak to that criminal mind because obviously I've never been a criminal. We've seen stories. We've watched Netflix documentaries. I've covered news stories, and I used to work in news. You know, but I don't fully know that mentality. I've had experiences with family members, especially my native side, you know, and their scars. I mean, you see them wearing their scars, not physically, but spiritually, mentally, emotionally, you know, and you can tell when someone's hurt. You hear that saying, hurt people only know how to hurt people.
Yeah.
You know, and when you think about that from that perspective, you know, all he knows, everything. I feel like in this movie, the way he was raised, again, I'm not trying to get super deep, but in life, man, to make it relevant, man, that's how he was treated. You know, and so the fear in that Rachel's eyes was the fear that probably was once in his eyes.
Yeah, he probably, because he changes the story every time, right?
Yeah.
So he probably, I'm sure he's good at reading people. So he just picks a story that they can, like,
Well, I think
that their fear kind of.
What do you think?
in this universe, I think I heard somewhere that he was once a Marine.
Okay.
So I think this universe, he was in the army. So he must have experienced things, you know?
Oh, I bet. You know, and again, I want to kind of just really kind of stick to the basic of really my message for this. You know, again, we're not what our scars, we're not our scars. You know, in the process of getting those scars, or whatever it might be, mental, physical, spiritually, emotionally, you know, what are you passing on? What are you putting on?
Yeah.
You know, how are you portraying yourself? I'm not talking about, you know, looking at or being some kind of way to people to impress or let people know you're okay. No, I'm not talking about that. You know, because at the end of it, man, you can keep it at its base form, the simplest mentality of it, I guess, or just a simple form of it is that basic attitudes. How you start as a kid, whether it be a lazy attitude, you know, a bitterness or something, it starts somewhere and then eventually evolves into just something bigger, you know. And I just want to keep it at that mid-level of just, you know, wounds start off small.
Yeah.
You know, mentally, emotionally, the basic stuff, man. Sometimes we don't think we know we have them.
Yeah.
Sometimes we think, I'm good. I was raised right. I was this. I was that. You know, and we never know until reality hits. You know, I've come across a few friends, you know, reality hit them. And they didn't know how to respond. So it scarred them in a certain way. They were afraid to move forward. They were afraid to really face it for what it is. And it made them a person of fear. You know, to not really approach, you know, life, I guess you would say, well, fearless. And really that's you know, it's these real examples that I know, you know, and they look at me and they're like, dude, how did you go through this? How are you still here? You know, and I just think it's a different mentality on what I was raised, you know, because I've seen the worst of things. I've seen, you know, things that happen to me. I've seen things that happen to my siblings or cousins or other family or friends, and it's like I became real immune to it. You know, like we're so desensitized, you know, from all these movies, from this music we listen to, and when we think of or we see a murder, when we see death, blood, guts, it's like in real life, it's so easily depicted in the movies as real life, but when we see it in real life, we're not fazed. Yeah, we're not. You know, and I think sometimes that's what scars do. They callous up, because I have scars on my legs from doing dumb things. Yeah. You know, scars on my fists, you know, my knuckles, and on those certain parts, at least for me, you know, I can't really feel anything, so we become real hardened to things and feelings and emotions because we're scarred by them. You know, and I've said this before, we are not what happened to us, we are not our scars. You know, you can either take that scar and use it, you know, what it say, as a beauty mark, you know, and people ask about your scars, you're healed from it. Yeah, the physicalness of it is there, but the root of the problem is gone. Yeah. You know, and I think that's this character that Heath Ledger plays is so amazing, you know, because he pulled that out. And he probably pulled it out from an experience he had. Because, again, these actors go in. You know, Shia LaBeouf ripped out his teeth, you know, or one of his tooth or a tooth for that movie Fury, because he just wanted to be immersed in the character. I don't
remember that part. You did that?
Yeah, well, before. Yeah, because you kind of see all the behind-the-scenes extra features on the Blu-ray of Fury, which is one of my favorite movies. Yeah, but, you know, again, I'm not trying to be super deep. And this has kind of really been on my heart, man, because you see in the movie, let's just go to it, because I'm not going to, because I think people get the point. You know, I just want to let it play and just keep on that. You know, because this whole point, man, he's, you know, when he's in the hospital talking to Harvey Dent, and, you know, this, you know, like this scene where he's getting interrogated by Batman. And sometimes we as people who are hurt, again, know how to hurt people, and you want to bring the hurt out of them. You want to make people like you. You want to make people hurt like you and feel like you. You know, if you're alone, I want people to feel alone like me, so I'm going to take away. You know, and that's what he does. He gives people the option. Like in the first scene where he brought up with, what's his name, Gamble, you know, he said, we have tryouts. He says, but we have open spots, but there's only one position. And he breaks a pool stick, and we all know this, and he gives them the option. Either you guys all die, or one of you live, but one of you have to kill the other two. You know, and he puts a position where they lose.
Yeah.
You know, and that
lose.
yeah, it's a lose-lose, you know, and he puts people down in their levels. So where you're forced to be like him, and he wants to take that innocence. He wants to take that away from them, because that was taken from him. You know, again, I'm not this super deep psychologist. I got kicked out of high school. I got no diploma. I got no degrees in nothing. You know, but when I know people, when I see this movie, and I see what you see right there, you know, I've experienced that to a certain extent. I've experienced the ugliness in life and what was put on me. You know, and I saw this one video on TikTok where this guy showed a picture of him when he was like in 2nd or 3rd grade, and it was like his school picture, and his just eyes glowed up, just smiling, happy. You know, it's like it's a handsome little boy right there. And then he says, you know, and the caption was, look at my eyes, how just glowing they were. And he transitioned himself to a shot of him now, and you see just that light taken away from his eyes. You know, and I think this really depicts that in such a great way, because he wants to take that from people. Like, again, the most incorruptible person that seemed to be Harvey Dent, obviously Two-Face, we read the comics, we know, you know, but he took what was important to him, you know, obviously Rachel, and then made Harvey Dent just like him. And so what did Harvey Dent do? Go on a killing spree. You know, and so to some certain...
He proved his point.
Yeah, he proved why...
He can do it.
Yeah.
People could be at his level.
Yeah, and I think with that, we do that to people. We've done that. That's happened to us. Whether we don't see the full meaning behind it, that's happened. That's happened to me. That I've done that in my low moments. I'm hurt. I want people to be hurt like me. You know, they're alone. I want them to be alone like me. So you try to bring them down to your level. You know, gaslighting, they call it. You know, they do all these subliminal, you know, moves and tactics and stuff like that. And those type of people need help. Because your boy was like that. You know, again, I'm only going based off when I watch this. It always reminds me. Because like this particular scene, you know, Batman tries to talk to him like a cop. And Joker's like, you're not like, no, don't talk to me like you talk to, you're not like them. You know, you're only necessary for a time until they don't need you. You know, so Batman knows that. Batman knows Joker's right. But this scene right here, as you know, as it's happening, Batman in his logic, in his mind knows, man, I will be cast out like a leper. You know, he knows it's true, but Batman's gut feeling and his morals are like, but that's not who I am. Yes, I know that, but there's a bigger purpose out there, because my parents were taken from me. And I don't know one, like Patterson on vengeance. You know, he wants to put fear on those who prey on the weak. You know, and I like that, because you see right here, look at it, he said, don't talk to me like that, man. You know, they're going to cast you out. He's basically saying, you're like me. Join me. You know, he's like, I'm just ahead of the curve. And he's like, man, no, you're not. You know, and then when Batman's, oh, you're just a thug that kills for money. It's like, you don't know me, dude. Don't talk to me like that. You know, again, real recognize real. And I've learned when people are just fake, it's like, dude, don't talk to me like that, man. Just be real. Be yourself. You hear that all the time, and I think that's what sucks about this culture and this time we're living now, man. People just don't legit know how to be themselves. You know, and I think now that when I'm watching this, and this is the extreme level. You know, the movies are the extreme level, you know, but the reality is that at some point, you know, things in life that we may have not experienced, that this stuff is happening, you know, and so I don't know. I feel like when you see this movie and you see this character and you see this person trying to tell, what was he's like, he told Batman in that interrogating room, he's like, you know what you have to do to get the information, man. And Batman's like, I'm thinking about it. He's like, well, you're going to have to break that one rule.
And his rule was not to kill,
yeah.
right?
You know, and so when he made the decision to put Gotham's innocent people in one boat and Gotham's criminals, You know, let's get out of this. Let's put that. You know, Gotham's criminals on another boat, and he wants to give the innocent people, all right, blow these guys up. If they don't blow you, you don't blow them up, they're gonna blow you up.
Yeah.
You know, then you get that the rich guy, or I don't know, just the average citizen guy's like, I'll do it. Those guys had their chance.
Yeah.
You know, even at and I believe even at my moment where I feel anger, I feel bitter, I feel this, and people are like, man, you deserve it. That's why I think I've learned, man, I deserve it all the more. I'm no better than the next guy. I am not. You know, I know I'm not. Everyone thinks, again, there are comments, there are things that I've seen, I've heard people say about me when I have this show. It's like, Jose just thinks he's arrived. Jose thinks he's better. Jose, nah, you have no idea what this show has done to me. Mm-hmm. It keeps me in check. Because I can't be fake. I can't sit there and be one way on camera and off camera. I think even recent months, still, what I've dealt with, I put that aside now, but I've caused a wrinkle, you know, on this fabric I'm trying to iron out in my life. And it's like, well, there goes that wrinkle again. So I got to iron it out. You know, I can't be making these mistakes no more. Again, I'm not trying to be perfect, but I'm trying to stop being that. I'm trying to stop being that thing that people want me to be, a failure, you know, or Jose's just falling off, you know. And I think that's why Still Here means so much, because I'm more than just a podcaster, you know, or content creator. You know, I want to talk about topics like this that matter, because you guys are listening and watching. You are in that same boat, and you're on the cusp of breaking that one rule in your life to be like everyone. You're on the cusp of putting your scars on other people. You know, you're on the cusp of doing something, or something's happening to you right now, and it's making a scar. It's causing you to, it's causing a wound right now, and it will turn into a scar, but you are not what's happening to you. You know, and I feel like that's my message right now, is that you're in a moment, you're in a time right now where I'm cut, I'm hurt. And it just seems like this gash is not healing, but when it does, it's just going to be this ugly scar. And you're not that. You're not. And that's the sucky, crappy part of it, is that you got to go through it.
Yeah, and I think if you take care of a scar the correct way, it can heal back. But if you don't take care of it, it can be really ugly, and then you just have this huge thing that's just so noticeable. And I mean, and we can do that. If we want it to be healed correctly, we got to do it the right way. Mm-hmm. You know, we can't keep reopening it, try to put it back together, reopening, it's just you're gonna have scar tissue.
And it's easily, like you see Nate Diaz, you see all these UFC fighters.
And it is something happens, it's just gonna rip open, because that tissue is weak. So thin and so weak. Or how you heal up, it matters.
Yeah.
Or you have to be careful, because you could numb it too without going through the actual process to actually healing it.
It's true. You can. Yeah, I mean, great points, because you never know, man. Sometimes I think you got to let the hurt. Mm-hmm. You got to let the moment hurt. You got to just say, you know what, I can't change this. I hate it. I think that's what I've learned to do and be in life, is just I can't change it, but I can't. I'm not going to let it make me like this. Mm-hmm. I know it's not going to make me.
And I think that's a healthy healing.
Yeah.
Because if you took the alternative route,
yeah,
well, they hurt me, I'm going to hurt them back. I'm going to get them
then
harder.
you only add to it. Then you become an agent of chaos. You become an agent of fear, an agent of hurt. You know, and I think that's the message I get out. Again, and they're very entertaining, very real, you know, but when I look at it from the perspective of the hurt, lost individual that's trying to make everybody like them. You know, it's like you hear that saying, man, don't be like them. Don't let nobody let you stoop to their level.
Yeah.
Be a better person. You know, and I think I've learned the hard way. Not I think, I know I have. But in my moment now where I know I've grown and God's changed me, and God's every day, keeping me in check and, really helping me. Man, I feel I see the change. I do still see my scars,
Yeah.
but those scars aren't me no more. I went through this big old ordeal a few months ago, boy, and you spoke to me, your mom spoke to me and says, you are no longer your past. You're no longer what was, Barbara put on you. That's not you no more. Let it go. And when I released that, obviously Barbara being my mom, once I released that, man, I felt this freedom, this weight lifted off me. And I got tired of reverting back to the excuse of, well, this is what happened to me.
Yeah.
And this is why I act out. This is why I don't have a mom, so I have a hard time on Mother's Day. I don't have a hard time no more. This past one, really just growing from this year was a good growing year, especially coming off my sickness and a year and some months back to work and a year and some months, starting this podcast.
With your health.
The health.
Getting back to healthy living. And
Yeah. And I think I've learned to accept my scars, but not let those scars define me, but use those scars as a testimony.
Yeah.
And as a message to say, you know what, this is your boy scars too, man. I've been there. I have the same scars like you.
Because those scars want to define you, right? And so it doesn't allow you to grow.
Yeah.
But when you use your scars as a testimony, you help everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You help 3 people. So what was supposed to take you out, supposed to hold you back, you're using it to help other people get better. And acknowledge their scars, acknowledge, man, I don't want to be like that no more. And if they can use their scars as a testimony, then I'm going to use my scars as a testimony. And then it could just keep going on.
Mm-hmm. And I think I've learned that, and one thing I've learned, and I've said this before, man, your life is about you, and, every situation you can take and learn and say, you know what, this is for me to better myself and, best version, if you guys want to just, I hate that term, but I feel like if you're in a crappy situation right now, whatever the case may be, don't just say, it sucks, I'm in this. How can I learn from this? Don't make it about you. And know that, just feel and think this way. Yes, I'm going to learn and grow from this, whether this was my own doing or this happened to me. I'm still going to use this to help people who are in the same situation. So handle it with dignity. Handle it with, like Batman, man. Just handle it like Batman. I want to kill you. I want to beat and as Joker was falling down that building, and Batman's like, dang it.
Saved him.
And Joker's like, you just couldn't let me go. Yeah, because as much as I want you to die, justice has to be served the right way. Mm-hmm. And believe me, those who've hurt you, those who've, spoke things over your life, did things to you, man, you live your life in such a way where you cannot lose, be broken, and God, at the end of the day, will get the glory. He will. So you just live your life in a way that's respectable, of course, and man, admired. So then, again, that's one thing I love about Pastor Marty's faith. Not many people can have that faith and say, God, if you're going to take her, thank you for the 30 years. When I talked to him, when I called, when I found out about Mona, I called him, and that response I heard, I was like, dang, I don't know if I can be like that. You don't know until you're in the thick of it.
Yeah.
And so again, are they scarred about it? Yes, Mona has scars now. A lot of people can just stay defeated. A lot of people's like, that happened to me, I'm just going to be this. Mm-hmm. Not her. Those scars that she wears, man, she shows them off, man, for the glory of God. And I think that's why that podcast was so successful, is because they think, man, someone called me and told me, dude, I was in that same situation. You changed my life. I was talking to him, and it was actually the day before or after. It was on the Friday we released him. So Saturday I was talking to this person, and he was just telling me, dude, thank you. He's like, I know how to handle a situation. You know, Mona used that situation. She didn't know much what happened.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, the situation, because I mean, she doesn't remember everything, but it has to do a lot with Pastor Marty. That was God wanted to see where he was, I think, and him being an example to his sons.
Yeah.
In that type of situation, I mean, watching her take her last breath, I was like, my heart dropped when he said that.
Yeah.
You know, I can't imagine that. You know, but her testimony afterwards is seeing her family go through it, how strong they came out of it, and all the healing that happened in her body.
And again, you see the scars, but you see the testimony.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I love what Pastor Marty said. He's like, yeah, I'm angry. I don't want to say I'm angry at God, but you're just like, why? Why? Oh, yeah, the book of Job. You know, Job lost everything, lost his family, and God went to the devil, just roaming the earth, seeking who can destroy. You know, and God's like, consider my servant Job. And the devil's like, I'll have him curse you at the end of the week. God's like, yeah, you can handle it. You can, just don't kill him. And the devil goes in, and what does Job do every time? Give God glory. You know, but Job does question God, and Job does say, God, why? And God responded back, Job, you know, like Quap. But God responded back 3, 4, 5 chapters on why he's God. And then Job was reminded, man, God, you're good. You know, and that's where I think we, as followers of Christ, man, to praise you in the storm, man. Again, it's different until you're in it.
Yeah.
It's different until you're in it. So I feel like now just start preparing, start giving God glory now. Start elevating your faith every day. Start walking in it, like Lily said. Start growing.
Yeah.
She's grown into this. You know, and she's now a part of all this. You know, my other two eventually catch on, suckers. Kehlani, if you're listening and watching outside in the living room. But again, life sucks. But man, learn to say, you know what, life does suck, but guess what, man, I'm going to suck the life out of life and watch me win. You know, and I believe that's where I'm at right now. And, you know, this podcast, again, just going over that quick, you know, Joker scene with Heath Ledger, man, bringing people to their level. You know, and Batman proves, he's like, what'd you want to prove? That everyone is evil and ugly like you? He says they're not. Even when they're pushed into the corner. And I believe a lot of you guys listening and watching are that. You are genuinely good. And you have faced the situation, but you're not what happened to you. You knew how to fight it off. You knew how to approach it. That's why you stay winning. Now use that to help and impact people's life. That's all I'll say. You know, and again, this is my going into it with this weekend, y'all. Man, find someone, connect with someone, grow with someone, and help heal their scars. Don't live a selfish life. Yeah, do you, make your bag, do all this stuff, hoopity hoopla. But find that person you can help and impact. That's what I would say. That's my last word. What's your last word, Laura?
My last word.
We'll close this out.
My last word is I kind of feel like when we talk about our scars, a lot of them are probably done by ourselves.
Yeah.
Because of one scar, you know, and you know that one song we're listening to, When I Think About the Lord, and she talks about that voice.
Yeah.
She says in high school she was suicidal, and she always had that voice that said no one would care if you're even here. And she says she heard it, and she says the voice was familiar. That voice, if you stop, you'll hear it. It tells you all the negative things, and it puts you in a place. But I liked when she said, God, why are you letting me hear this voice? Because I got rid of this voice when I got saved. And he says, because not for you, it's for other people to tell them of your testimony. I really feel like you hear that voice, use it. So, I know who I am. I'm not going to go through that again. I'm not going to give you my own scars. I'm not going to let you take advantage of me no more. I'm taking control. And I'm going to help other people with their scars.
Yeah, and I'm going to use what happened to me, to help others, And I mean, that's so true. God gets the glory.
Yeah.
So what about you, Lily?
Well, what I want to say is that to always look for the people that are left out too. To the people that are always quiet. Because it's usually the ones, whether they're the loudest or quietest, you can really see when people are hurt. And always to just try and grow. Because if you're stuck, then you're just always going to feel defeated. So you always just have to try. Even if you just take a little step, you see even a little bit of progress. You're going somewhere.
Yeah. From the mouth of babes. Preach it, girl. Here's her Venmo right here. We're gonna take an offering for her.
Hey, my first one.
But yes, I mean this is it. This is my heart. Going into the weekend, y'all, man, and you got time listening to this, man. Shout out to you. But stay tuned for these podcasts coming up, man. We're about ready to wrap up season 4. Man, I mean, I didn't think season 4 just started, and I feel like these seasons age me. Because I'm so far ahead, 5, 6 weeks, 7 weeks planned out. We just shot a podcast this past Thursday. Yeah. We just shot, we're shooting another one, but we're working. But it's like I'm so scheduled. It's like my mind is already in fall.
Yeah,
right.
That's
yeah.
True.
I'm old already. I feel it's like these podcasts come by so quick.
Plus of all the other things we're doing too.
Oh my gosh, especially
me and you.
Yeah.
We were around each other for
the past month every day.
Every day.
I mean, we're with each other, but now we're like, yeah. I mean, we're on the same worship team now. Sunday, this past Sunday, we got up at 5, went to church about 6:30, 6:40. Right. Then me and you were playing all morning, and we were chilling with each other all morning. Then church was over. We got something to eat. We were with each other. Went to go grandma and grandpa's house, and after that, we had to get to church early. So me and you went to church early. From there, we were there practicing, and we're on stage together. And then it's
all the other days too.
Yeah, and then the next day here working, and here we are shooting a podcast. So this is our life. So if I'm gonna spend time with you guys, I want to do this with you guys. I want to be this, and this is a based family, I believe. I don't need me time. I don't need me time. That was out the door. I don't need a guy's night out. I used to go out. I'll still hang out with Justin. I'll still hang out with some of my boys, but things are different now. Laura doesn't care about ladies' night. It's just we're different. And the Bible says when I became a man, when I was a child, I spoke as a child. When I became a man, I put away childish things. This is my life, and my life is to help grow my family first and help you guys, be there for you. Just I feel like when I'm in the presence of people, man, they just look at me and they're like, well, there's nothing I can talk to him about. Because I'm not doing what you're doing anymore. I'm not drinking anymore. I'm not going out. I'm not.
Conversations are different.
It's like I'm elevating myself.
Yeah.
I'm not better than you. That's for sure. I know I'm not. But if you want to elevate yourself, hit me up. And I just think this is what we're doing as a family. And I think that's why a lot of people look at us and they see us and are like, dang, why are you guys so different? What makes you like? That's why that song's so important to me. It's like when I think about the Lord, how he saved me, how he raised me, lift me up, pick my feet up on solid ground. It's only because of God. So I want to thank you guys for watching and listening and all the support. I was on a podcast a few weeks ago. It's going to be releasing soon this month in August, I believe. With Coach Cordell and Angelo. These guys are on my podcast. Such great guys, man. And so I was on his show and Laura was on the show the 2-hour pod, so you guys get to hear all our drama and why I was a victim in Laura's crazy life, because you know she hurt me. She cut me deep. You cut me deep, Trick. You cut me real deep. But I'm excited for that podcast. Stay tuned. He's gonna tag me and I'm gonna share it. You know, but again, man, we're wrapping up season 4. Stay tuned, man. If you guys like this topic, man, hit me up. You guys do. You genuinely do. Thank you. Again, this is why I want to keep talking about this stuff. I'm gonna put it out there, man. Your boy's putting himself out there. You know, we are together now. You hear what my daughter's saying. She's elevating her life, her speaking game, her worship game, her edit, everything. Man, follow her. She's on Art Vibe by LJ. You see, I mean, yeah. It's just constantly creating, and that's what we do here in the Cruise family. Well, I love you guys. See you guys next week. Big stuff coming in the mix. Your boy's busy. Keep me in your prayers. I feel like I'm like slacking on the Still Here podcast, but I'm not gonna stop. So I love you guys. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.